Yo, appreciate your time and just know that I'm CryptoK, and today you should join my crypto club. Maybe by the end earn some dividends, so in advance I'ma thank you right now for that sub. Let's go.
Hello, and welcome to the stream, everybody. I'm your host, CryptoK, and today we're going to be talking about Trunk and all of the changes, and we are going to be taking questions live. So hopefully, if I have the answer, I can answer them for you guys. So welcome to everyone who is here on my secondary channel where we go live. And I appreciate some of the familiar faces that I see so far. Jed, I see that you were first. Brah, I appreciate you being here. Cryptozoa, Marius, Scott Deal from Rugs to Riches. Shout out, go follow that man's channel. But yes, guys, thank you so much for being here. Let me know, though, if the background music is a little bit too loud, or if you can't hear me correctly, just let me know. All right, just let me know. But today we're going to be going over all of the news that has rocked the community right now, and primarily talking about Trunk, right? And all of these changes that have just occurred. But for right now, sound check. Somebody in the chat, let me know. Are the volume levels okay? Am I coming through good? Is the background music too overbearing? Somebody, anybody, let me know. And also just, in general, say how, your weekend has been so far. And don't forget to hit a like on the video. That way, YouTube favors it and does a little thing for you. So, what's up? All right. Scott Deal says it's good. Gregory Mills, thank you for being here. All good. Keith says all good. All right, Spliffs, welcome to the channel, guys. Thank you so much for being here. So, to go ahead and get started, right? If you've been following any of the news that BT's been talking about really for weeks now, and even months back, as far as talking about renouncing of Bertha, okay? We already know that most of the ecosystem is already fully renounced, with the token being immutable, the graveyard's immutable, the lock liquidity is locked, right? The only other staple piece before we can renounce everything is Bertha, okay? And the governance contracts that go and talk in and out of Bertha, right? And that's primarily what this change is. In addition to all of the regulatory scrutiny that's been coming to the crypto space, Binance most recently, about their settlement with CZ and the plea deal, but that should set up a bullish future for Binance, right? So, in light of all of that, we're going to talk about the two main things that are changing right now, which are the Stampede contract is going to be closed. It is going to be migrated over into Trumpet, which, if you're not in that, there are tutorial videos to explain why Trumpet is an always up token, okay? Whether you're minting it or selling it, that price always goes up. So Stampede is going to be migrating over to that with the push of a button. Okay, you'll have to migrate it yourself whenever you log in, and that is expected to happen sometime tonight. Now, I don't know the time frame, but that is one of the major changes. The other thing is that, BT mentioned on the weekly spaces that pretty much anything in Trunk's ecosystem that emits Trunk is going to go away. So this includes farms. Right? The rewards that you get from farms come out of thin air. Those emissions are going to be just future liabilities for Bertha at some point. So the farms got to go as well. All right. And then lastly, and I think this is one of the more painstaking parts, is the redemption queue, right? That is going to be going away. That way, all of the funds, the outflow of Bertha that used to go into paying out the redemption queue, those are going to be allocated to the new Trunk buy burn strategy. Okay, so let me just take a peek in chat here. Fireheart, welcome to the community. All good. Spent a bit of time trying to catch up with all that is happening with Trunk. Oh, Don Mac, gotcha. That's who you are. Cool. Atlas, welcome to the channel, brother. Am I hearing right? Stampede migration is tonight. Yes, and we have to do a clicky click.
Yes, you gotta do a clickety clack, clicking of the button. You know, you gotta migrate, son. That's what we're all about here.
So yeah, you will be clicking a button to migrate over into Trumpet, okay? And let me see, latecomers lose Trumpet ratio, correct, Spliffs. Anyone who does not get the news will miss out on some of the initial burst that's going to happen to the Trumpet price. I would actually be surprised if even 1,000 people migrate, you know, in the next 24 hours. I think that news for this can travel slow, but also if you think about the migration from Stampede when it went from the old model to the future style model, of the 10,000 wallets in Stampede, only 6,000, 5 or 6,000 even migrated from there. So yeah, I don't expect there to be a huge wave that goes into Trumpet, but just know too that anyone in Stampede, your locked balance, okay, is going to be taxed, or a fee is collected, right, of 5% going into Trumpet, right? But your full balance is unlocked. So whatever is in your total balance, actually, let me see if I can pull up Stampede. But whatever is in your full balance plus whatever's sitting in your available will be going right over into Trumpet, right? It's going to just ignore whatever's in your claimed amount. So don't worry about a thing right there. If you happen to be somebody that has a ton of available trunk built up right now, you have two options. You can claim it out right now, but remember, it will deduct from your total value, okay? And you can put that into trunk ahead of time before the migration. Or, you know, what I did personally is I compounded my available into my total balance. That way, it all gets migrated. Because, you know, I'm not really looking to sell trunk or anything. I'm in it for the long game. And with the new changes, trunk is no longer a quote unquote peg stable coin, right? This, the missionless version of trunk will be fixed supply and deflationary, okay? That's really important because now that means that the trunk price can go well beyond $1 one day. It's not going to be soon. I don't think it's going to be soon, but it opens up that it can do that. And you could one day, theoretically, 5 years from now, have a $10 trunk or a $100 trunk. It's going to get crazy bonkers because Bertha is going to be the one buying and burning all of that trunk. In addition to what she's already doing right now on Trumpet, right? If you look at the Trumpet price, it's at, 2.2, right? And it started at 1. And a lot of these up tokens, they peter out around 1.4 or 1.5, just based on participant volume in and out. But the problem with these up tokens at the end of the day ultimately comes down to the fact that even with all of that volume going in and out with the taxes, you're inflating, or not inflating, but the backing supply gets so large, right? That any of the regular volume just is a drop in the bucket. So the price kind of asymptotically peters out around 1.5. But yet here at Trumpet, it's already above 2. And why? Why is it above 2? Does anybody know?
I'm gonna guess it has something to do with Bertha?
Yes, exactly. We are above 2 because Bertha, in the background for this entire however long Trumpet's existed, Bertha has been buying trunk in the background, minting Trumpet with that very trunk she's buying anyway, and then she's selflessly burning that Trumpet, right? And when you burn the back supply of what you just minted, you increase this price ratio. So that's why, relative to any other up token that has ever existed, somebody go show me one that's above 2. I think you'd be hard pressed to find me one. But relative to any of those up tokens, Trumpet has soared in price. Okay, so that's going to continue even with these changes. But yeah. This price should go pretty crazy. In addition to the trunk price eventually going crazy. So let's see. I'm going to scroll through. If you have any particular questions right now, I think that's a pretty good little overview. I'm going to read something that I wrote in the Telegram chat as well, just so you guys understand. But remember, ultimately, when it comes to, and I did not bring it up, did I? Damn it. But when it comes to Bertha, okay, remember that she has an outflow. She has an outflow with the governance strategies, okay? And the governance strategies for Bertha, they are in and out. We already know of one of them called the BUSD Treasury, which is where 90% of all your futures deposits go into. 90% of those funds go into Bertha specifically to buy elephant token for Bertha, right? That is on the inflow side of Bertha. But when it comes to the outflow side, there are primarily two areas that her outflow money goes to and has been going to. And that has been for peg support. Remember, that's where whatever APR is built up and then someone hits that peg support button, it buys trunk and then also mints Trumpet and burns Trumpet. That's what that peg support has been doing all along, right? That doesn't change. Now, the other outflow that was going out of Bertha was for the redemption queue. And that's where if you put in really cheap trunk and waited long enough, you know, you would get paid out, you know, dollar for dollar trunk. Okay. And again, that's the sticking point right now. That's what's, you know, rubbing some people the wrong way. But whatever amount of Bertha that was going towards that, all right, that is now going to be going into the peg support, which it's not going to be called peg support. I don't know what it's going to be now, but basically those two outflow streams that were going to peg support and redemption queue, they are now going to be combined and going into buying of trunk and burning of trunk. Okay. And that is crazy bullish in my opinion for the long term. For the short term, there's going to be some pain for those who just want to get out. Okay. Some people don't like change, but at the end of the day, when you zoom out at the overall trend of elephant money, everything that's done is for the betterment of elephant money and the protocol and the users at the end of the day. So that liquidity strengthening that's going to be happening to the trunk token right now, all of that outflow Bertha money, right, is going to be buying trunk, burning trunk. Also, I believe some portion of that same outflow is going to be allocated to still minting Trumpet and burning Trumpet. That way this price keeps on going up. So before I take questions, I'm just going to read one thing that I put into the community the other day. I was noticing there were a lot of questions, so I just kind of fired off something. I don't know if you can read this on site right now, but basically everything that's happening right now, okay, this is for the purpose of consolidating Bertha's existing expenditures that are going to peg support and redeem, right? So consolidating these existing expenditures into tackling trunk buybacks and burns are far better for all of us, right? Every trunk holder, not just the folks that are being paid out one by one in the redemption queue. So you have that versus splitting off just some of that outflow going to buy burns and some of the outflow going to the redemption queue. Just so y'all know, when I wrote this, how I'm speaking right now is how I wrote it, right? If you already know my vibe, whenever you see me post an elephant, I want you to be thinking exactly how I talk, all right?
Yeah, you might even sprinkle a little bit of me in there, son.
Damn. But anyway, splitting, all right, splitting will just slow the entire process down, right? The new aim is for a fixed supply deflationary trunk token. If you split that up or allow the redemption queue to go out, you're going to have a longer wait on the overall trunk price going up. So it just slows it down. It should all be aimed at the buy burns of trunk for a double whammy effect, right? Number one, you're adding liquidity via the buybacks. Bertha's buying that trunk, adding liquidity to the new trunk BNB pool that is going to be spun up. And number two, you're deflating the supply because that very same trunk that was bought, you're capturing that liquidity, but then you're burning that supply of what Bertha bought. Okay, it's a double whammy. Think of that. This will ultimately make trunk price soar well beyond $1. And I don't know when that is, but it mathematically will happen, right? In my opinion, everything on this channel, guys, is also non-financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. But seriously, just as why am I so certain that trunk price is going to go up ultimately in the long run? It's because the same thing's already happened with the elephant token for the last 2.5 years. Think about it. Even at today's price with the chart looking the way it does at the moment, we are still over 100x on the elephant token since the all-time low of June 2021. Let that sink in.
We are over 100x currently still.
Since all-time low. All right. That is a platform. That is a token. That is an ecosystem that is winning. All right. That is value capture at its finest. And the weak hands, you can get out, but Bertha is going to eat that up and keep growing. And we'll talk about the flippening here in a second. But anyway, I'll finish off by saying that any short-term or emotional pain right now will ultimately make sense in the end. When elephant token inevitably supply shocks, this means that trunk supply shock will follow. Think about that. And that's thanks to an enormous sized Bertha buying and burning boatloads of trunk on a daily basis, outweighing any sell pressure long term. Keep in mind too, the other big change for trunk token is that it's going to be all over the crypto landscape on sexes and dexes, which are centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges. Venus platform, open leverage. The possibilities are endless because they love fee-less or tax-less tokens, right? Which is what trunk is. But anyway, by doing that, this brings eyeballs to the elephant money ecosystem as a whole, right? As people trade it. A fee-less token can do that. Elephant token can't, right? So at the end of the day, when it comes to the regulatory stuff too, keep this in mind. Future-proofing the trunk model is key so that nobody needs to babysit farms and Stampede if and when regulatory changes happen, right? Or BT isn't around. God forbid it gets hit by a bus, right? But what happens when the system is renounced and these changes happen? By then, no one's going to be around to even do anything. So what's the point? Think about it, right? Let's say that in 6 months, whatever, SEC comes after, USDC and whatever other tokens that are in the farms, for example, or maybe or they want to come after trunk being $1, right? BT is going to have it renounced. He will not be in a position to change anything, and everyone's funds are going to be trapped, locked, whatever it is. So ultimately, this is the smartest play. The math and the reasoning are rock solid. Now, this is my opinion. Not everybody is going to agree with that opinion. Not anything you do with these changes is going to satisfy everybody, okay? But the hardcore herd that understand and have been with the vision all along see this as nothing more than bullish, okay?
I will even share this, all right?
I had a conversation with my good friend AJ Brockman from EMP. And he called me to get up with all the changes that are happening. And he is nothing more than bullish on this. He understands the emissions of trunk token and how, even though if we stayed on the same path, I, hands down believe that Bertha would be able to handle everything. But that's not the issue, okay? Even though Bertha could handle it, it's just an unnecessary stress of printing trunk tokens out of thin air from the farms and Stampede. Okay. All right. Think about that. And in addition to, if the regulatory changes did happen after everything's renounced. So this entire process right now, what's being changed is really to streamline the trunk token, right? It's to streamline it and make sure that even if regulators change something, it's okay. We just have a very simple deflationary token in trunk, which has a awesome staking contract in the form of Trumpet. So that's ultimately what that is. I'm going to put this away so that we can actually look through some of the chat right here. I think I am all sorts of behind, so bear with me. But yeah, let's talk about it. If I have the answer, I will share. Some of the stuff we'll just have to wait until it's actually finalized, right? And comes out. So Let's see what we got. Let me take a sip of water. All right, so Joseph Smith, welcome to the stream. He says, do you think it's going to be tonight or still a few days? I think it's projected to be tonight. All right, this migration from Stampede into your Trumpet staking. But you never know, right? Everything, he could hit a snag and then maybe it takes, until tomorrow or another couple days. I don't know. But stay tuned in the Telegram chat. Look out for the hard refresh or whatever other updates. And also, too, you guys need to be mindful on your security, okay? No one is going to DM you in the Elephant Money chat and talk about, oh, the migrations now, click this, blah, 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 all right? I'm already getting DMs from other people who are getting DMs from fake bank tellers, okay? So don't come into chat, asking questions. And if you get a DM from anybody, it's a scam. Do not follow anything outside of the main Elephant Money Telegram channel in the pinned messages, right? That's where you'll see it. Protect your bags. Also on Telegram, change your settings so only contacts can add you to new Telegram groups. Right now, there's several people getting scraped out of the main chat and into a fake Elephant Money chat that looks like the real thing. And then you click a button. And typically this is what it looks like. It's going to take you to a site. It's going to ask you for a contract approval, which is then going to zap your elephant tokens. Do not fall for that. Okay. If it's not a contract approval, it'll be something that looks like a Rabbi wallet or MetaMask wallet prompt that says, oh, there's an issue. We need your seed phrase so you can reset, right? Don't get caught up in giving out your seed phrase. A lot of people always fall victim to that crap. Don't let it happen to you. All right. You hear it all the time. Don't give out your seed phrase. A lot of people assume that means if somebody asks me, a person asks me for my seed phrase, I won't give it up. That's not how they're doing it. They're giving you fake MetaMask prompts. So it's not a person asking. It's a trusted MetaMask thing with the orange fox head. So anyway, I digress, but y'all need to really keep that security in mind. Okay, next question. And Danny Crane, thank you for joining the stream tonight. Do we know what will happen with the Trunk Treasury, assuming retired for its normal purposes, but slow burn into Trumpet perhaps? I don't exactly know what's going to happen to the Trunk Treasury. I am going to guess that it's all just going to be burned. I think it's just going to be burned straight up. And let me go to the Trunk page right here, but I think that there's already been some UI updates. So right now you can't even see minting or stats or the raffle. It's all gone, right? But this Trunk Treasury, 671. I think that's going to get burned, but that's just speculation. All right. Anyway, Rugs to Riches says, will the APR all be going to Trumpet? Will the outflow be less since it is being consolidated there for helping the Treasury? So the APR, everything's going to be going to Trumpet, right? And I think the current APR is about 90% on Trumpet. But when everything in Stampede is unlocked, I think you're looking at upwards of 78 or 80 million Trunk tokens, right? Are going to be moved to the Trumpet contract, okay? And so I think that 90% APR is going to drastically fall, right? Because now you're divvying it amongst a lot of people. I could be wrong on this, but I would not expect it to stay 90% APR, okay? So there is going to be an initial boost for sure as people are 5% taxed in from their Stampede into Trumpet. But yeah, I think the overall APR should go down. Will the outflow be less since it is being consolidated there for helping the Treasury? Not sure. It's all being consolidated, but yeah, Bertha is still just going to be buying up whatever available trunk is on the market. So naturally, the people that sell out of Trumpet, 5% tax on the way out. Again, remember that. But they are free to do whatever they want with that token. If they dump it and the current price of trunk is 16.8 cents, right? That could go down. That could go down short term. And, I think everyone should expect the worst, but be surprised if it's not as bad. But you could see trunk price going down to 10 cents I think Elephant Money heard my friend. He did some math, and everyone wish him well. Actually, he's going through some things with his family and his own health. But EMH, we're thinking about you, brother. We love you. But he did some quick math and just said that if all 78 million came out of Stampede into Trumpet, and then 100% of that just came back out and sold, it would theoretically put trunk price down to half of a penny. Okay, that is absolute worst case scenario. I do not think that will happen, but that is worst case scenario. So I'm glad you put that math together. Marius, at least the redemption queue gets the first bite of the pie. Correct. So I think that's the first thing that's going to happen before the big Stampede migration. The folks that are in the redemption queue, okay, and I hear you guys, and I understand, and it does suck. But especially if you were waiting, right, and you're only like days or weeks or months away from having been redeemed $1 for $1. But basically, everyone in the redemption queue is going to be given back the very trunk that they put in, liquid. It's just going to go liquid to them, and then they can choose what they want to do with it first before the Stampede migration. So they could get ahead by putting it into Trumpet and capitalizing on that Trumpet price appreciation, or they can just sell it on the open market right now at 16 cents. Okay, and then they can use that. I know that some people have cleared out their farm. Some people have, sold their trunk and put it into futures or NFTs or Elephant Token itself. But free market, free will, do as you please. That's the magic of this decision as well. So spliffs, good point. Yes, say thank you. That's an old comment. I don't know what I was saying out of my mouth when you mentioned that, but hopefully it's all been good points. So thank you, man. Thank you very much. Jed says, LOSK, I'm vibing with you. Yes, sir. Appreciate that, Jed. And thank you for all that you do for the community, my friend.
Yeah, you're damn right. It's so good, man. This is all bullish, in my opinion.
Let's see. Layla Music, what is up? Welcome to the channel. LOL, nice one. SK, you're amazing. Thank you, Layla, and thank you for dropping those dope beats on the community there to hype them up. So it's all good. Scrolling down here, Zach Minter, aka DeFi Springs. Thank you for showing up here, brother. Everyone, go follow that man's channel if you have not yet. Okay. Who else? SK, keep it going, bro. Tom. Is that Tom from MySpace? What up, Tom? How you doing, man? Thank you very much for being here. Keep it going, bro. I will try, guys. I'll try my best, right? I am not always in the public eye. I've got a family and a day job, folks. I'm sorry. But I do what I does when I can. So here we go. Keith Brockman, the changes were 100% necessary. People hate change. They just do. But over time, we're better off. And Keith, yes, that's kind of the point that I'm trying to point out here. I don't expect, as I scroll down these comments, that everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows, okay? There are people that are unhappy. They just do not like change, right? But I think at the end of the day, we have to believe in the coach, right? Coach BT. We've got to run the plays, all right? And there's a reason why he's a chess champion, and he's always forward thinking. He's thinking about the regulators. He's thinking about the emissions coming out of thin air for trunk token, right? Needless Bertha liabilities. Now, this just streamlines everything for Bertha to just focus on buying and burning trunk and trumpet. That is insanely bullish in the long term, guys. So don't get caught up in the FUD. You know, you got a lot of fuddy-duddies out there in all these Telegram circles that just want to spew nonsense. Get your facts from the sources, DM people in the know, and just understand, you know, everything is being done to consolidate before the bull run, and also get us out of the crosshairs of the regulatory stuff, okay? Also, this is for BT to be able to actually renounce Bertha. Once it's renounced, he cannot fix anything on Stampede and the farms, okay? So this is all ultimately part of that goal to renounce, right? BT wants to retire from this and let it do its thing. The performance fund with the 1% APR, we'll talk about that later. but that is going to go into the Elephant Money Foundation, right? That is the future HQ of Elephant Money. Think years ahead when we are super established, super parabolic, super everywhere, right? There's going to be a headquarters with staffing. That's what that performance fund is ultimately going to, in addition to marketing and stuff. Let's see. Joseph says, I gotcha. Thanks, SK. Hey, you're very welcome. Let me take a sip of water here. Mr. Low. Let's see. Total supply of trunk. I think right now, free floating, you've got 36 million. But when you unlock Stampede, that, I guess that, well, no, I don't know if that really jumps up, because really, the 78 million that's coming out of Stampede is just moving contract to contract, right? So it's going to be housed within the Trumpet umbrella. But because it's unlocked, people can take it out and sell it. So this supply number is likely going to jump up if people want to go out. Roughly 100 million. Thank you, Zach. I should probably read a couple comments ahead just in case that answer happens. But yeah. 100 million if everyone pulls out a Trumpet. Best to remind again in EM group chat. Yep, I'm sure Jed and other people are sharing the news. Let's see. Tom, some of the fake TG groups can be very tricky. One actually copies all the names and messages from the Discord. Yes, these scammers are also on Discord too, so keep that in mind. All right, don't get trapped. Passive crypto gains, brother. Thank you for joining the channel tonight. Yo, SK. So I've not rolled my Stampede in over a year. Should I compound before the migration? Any benefits, or just keep it where it is? I can only share what I did, and what I did was I compounded my Stampede, because we don't know when the migration is going to happen. Okay, it could be tonight, could be tomorrow, whatever. Hopefully tonight. But if trunk price goes down, your available Stampede rewards will go down with it. Remember, it's peg adjusted, right? So if you want to lock in those gains and you're available, make sure you do it right now and compound it, lock it in, so it's in your total value of your Stampede, and then that will get migrated over. Okay, so I know somebody that DM'd me, they made a mistake. They had 71,000 trunk in their Stampede total value. They had 36,000 built up in the available, and they hit claim, and they said, whoops. So their 31,000 or whatever came out of their 71,000 and dropped the balance, right? He had a liquid 31,000 now, but he ultimately put it into Trumpet, and now he has 36,000 remaining or whatever that's gonna end up in Trumpet later after the pump. So yeah, that's what I did. Or you could claim it out, and again, you can sell the trunk and go into futures or NFTs like that. Tom, in my opinion, you are better off claiming and depositing it into Trumpet before the migration. Then it takes advantage of the migration bump. Yes and no, Tom. That is one option. To me, I think compounding it and locking it in gives you a larger amount of tokens. So, okay, I'll take the example of the guy. He had 71,000. He claimed out 31,000. Okay. If he compounded it, then he would have had over 100,000 tokens that would ultimately be migrated over into Trumpet. But because he claimed, now he only put in 31,000 liquid and then has another 35 or whatever that's about to go on top of that. He's right back at his 71,000 minus a 5% Trumpet tax. So he could have had 100,000, though, is what I'm saying. And that's what he intended to do. So you might be leaving some rewards on the table if you do not compound it in. All right. Where will the trunk come for seeding sexes? I think it's going to come out of the either performance fund, right? Probably part of the 1% APR. Some of that can be segregated out. You know, he's mentioned that in voice chats before. That's a good question, Rux. Or there might be something in the final form of this trunk Trumpet buyback burn. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but there might be something in there where, there's some liquidity that's allocated to these, Venus protocol, open leverage, however, right? So, if he said that it's going to be on these sexes and everything, I'm sure he has a plan on how it's going to happen. So let's see. Transaction Soldier 2, welcome to the channel. Why couldn't BT set a locked price that the migration always uses so we aren't fighting to get our stuff migrated sooner than others? That's a good question for him. I would imagine though that it's any kind of price freezing or whatever just means inflation, if you will, right? Like he wants it to become a free market of the token. That way it can, people can do as they please. So yeah, but that's a good question. Maybe on the spaces, whenever you hear from BT on Wednesday, that would be a good question for him. I'm just giving my guess. Why are you saying expect for worse? That's exactly what I'm expecting, and it isn't worse at all. It's a massive opportunity. Yes, that is exactly right, Jed. But, some people don't look at it as rosy as you, Jed. Some people just, they don't like change. They don't like change. Maybe they enjoyed that their trunk price has been, a stable 15 to 20 cents for quite a long time. I don't know, man, but people are just going to feel how they feel. You can't change it. You could just change how you react to it. And look, it's all good vibes all day this way, baby. Let's go. If claim subtract. Yes. Thank you, Passive. That is correct. Fireheart, could you say again what happens to the available trunk in Stampede when transition takes place? Right. So if you do not touch your available trunk rewards in Stampede, and trunk price goes down, that means that your available will also go down. So if you're sitting at 200 trunk and we're at 16 point, whatever cents, if this goes down to 14 cents, your 200 trunk available will go down to, 190, 185 or something. Okay. So yeah, that's what happens there. Tom says, yes. Lots of support from Bertha's #1 fan. Yeah. Mike says, I love the changes in alignment with regulatory changes. Cash flow for all must continue. That is correct. Marvin Murdoch, welcome to the channel. He says, this was the final piece to complete Elephant Money's ecosystem. Next stop is Mars. Yes. That is one way to look at it. That'd be dope. Bingo, the final feature complete Elephant Money version is ready to make history. No third parties, all on chain and cash flow for all. Let's go, SK. Let's go. Appreciate that, Zach. All right, I think I'm coming to the end of the comments here, which is good. Johnny Zig, welcome to the channel. How is it ethical or decentralized to mandate your assets be put into a protocol with a tax on it? So most of the ecosystem, again, is already renounced. Everything in DeFi is ultimately an experiment. 9 times out of 10, you're going to go read a fancy, flashy white paper with a nice website, and those projects dry up and die within a year. Okay. They just didn't do it right. They don't have a flywheel like Bertha that is happening here at Elephant. So until Elephant Money is fully renounced, it is not decentralized in the manner that you're describing, the way that you would want, right? So this is all optimizations that are happening for the future of Elephant Money, so that way we can take that final step, fully be renounced, nothing else needs to be changed, the flywheel just works. So, and you have to remember too, Trunk, Stampede, and Farms, right, have been out for over a year, and they have done nothing, right? They've just been a sitting lame duck for all of this time. Nobody's really excited about it. Okay, people want to come out the woodwork now and talk about it, but it is what it is. So yeah, it's time to really just make it a deflationary fixed supply token that ultimately should have everybody win. You already are sitting on a moon bag, everyone just remember that. And if you're bullish on the outcome of Bertha and Elephant Money as a whole, then you know that as Elephant Money token supply shocks, Trunk will supply shock too. And you will make back way more than just a 5x, even for the people in the redemption queue, as DTD here says. Reneging on the redemption queue is an absolute liberty. Yes, let's see. And some people are just not going to be happy about it. I get it. I get it. I had some in the redemption queue as well. And, you know, ultimately, I'm more excited for a trunk price that can go well above $1. Deadpool Crypto, welcome to the channel. If BT renounces keys, can Elephant Money ever move outside of Pancake Swap if need be, or create our own DEX? This is a good question for him on the Twitter Spaces. I don't think so. I don't think so. We are married to not only the BNB coin and the chain, but Pancake Swap as well, which, you know, I don't foresee anything ever happening to Pancake Swap. That is liquidity pools on the blockchain, untouchable. It'll just run the way it's supposed to, right? There's no magic thing that PCS can just come in and do and cripple everyone that's done that. So Moneyman says, no worries heard. Moneyman will never dump on you. That is right. Listen to the man of money right there, okay? Everybody who holds a position in Elephant Money, you are, as DeFi Springs has said, your own miniature Bertha. That is what you are, okay? If you hold Elephant token, you have token out of the supply. You are helping the fundamental supply shock that is inevitable as Bertha gets bigger, right? You are your own miniature Bertha. So just don't forget that. And I think I have, what's it called? Oh, yeah, the flipping, the ultimate race right here. But you can see with the LPs that have been added back into, you know, from cells of the Elephant token, Bertha has technically flipped, right? Now, this isn't the way we imagined it would happen, but it did happen. And Bertha in green just has a steady slope upward. Just do not forget that, okay? She just keeps on going up. Keeps on going up. And as people are trading in and out of Elephant token, you're just passing the token from weak hands to strong hands, okay? So you got that going on. Let me see, Marius Vogel. If all Stampeders migrate at once, for argument's sake, 82 million trunk supply, how would it affect the Trumpet price? Done some calculations, but it doesn't seem right. I got 2.299. I don't have that in front of me. There's a spreadsheet that I could probably go play around with that I made on the Trumpet tutorial. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's going to jump up like astronomically. Remember again what I said at the beginning. The reason Trumpet price has really gone up so high as it has compared to any other up token is because of the Bertha, Trumpet, mints, and burns, right? That is ultimately what puts that price up. Yes, volume from buys and sells happens too, but it becomes a drop in the bucket because you know, there's just not enough volume. I don't know how high it's going to go, but it is going to be a little jump. But I wouldn't predict anything like gangbusters. So Fireheart says, hey, makes sense, thanks. Gregory Mills says, look at that, we got Moneyman in the house. So, and I apologize if y'all hear a crying baby in the background. But yeah, okay, so I got through all of the chat right there. We can go over a couple other things, such as the Elephant token. As we all see, it is, you know, being reacted to with some of the changes. BNB price is a little bit down today, but that's not the overall reason why Elephant price is down at the moment. But you can ultimately see with the RSI down here, but we are oversold. We are well below where we need to be down in this range here. So that just means that this is a buying opportunity. People are going to be scooping up Elephant token. And, you know, do not forget, right? Volatility ultimately is good for the Elephant token. Bertha gets her cut. Every single time someone buys and sells, Bertha gets her cut. That is why she gets bigger over time. Right now, if she's sitting at 194 trillion tokens, wait until she is smashing 200 or 210, 220, 250 trillion tokens. It is going to really accelerate the supply shock. That is inevitable, right? Nothing's changed, guys. Like, you just got to think of it that way too. Like, the FUD is going to be a temporary thing. There's no exploit happening. This is ultimately how the system works, and that value capture is really what propels this. And so what's going to happen here is you're just going to have some sideways chop. We've seen this before. After the last Black Swan event, okay, we just went sideways for quite a while. And we went up again, and then we went down again, and then up and down, and just crabbing sideways. This is just another form of that. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. And even when you look at Coin Codex, even today, still, we're up 241% year over year, right? That is more than what most people can say in the entire crypto industry, outperforming 89% of all of the top 100 cryptos. Nothing has changed there. Now, let me just pull up. I meant to pull up, I think, the trunk token. So keep in mind, is this new? BNB, I don't know if that's new or not, but Trunk BUSD is the primary LP right now on PancakeSwap, and we're going to see some people making moves, obviously. But remember too that because we are no longer going to be a stable coin, he is spinning up a Trunk BNB pool. Okay, and that is what's ultimately going to be playing around on these sexes and dexes and Venuses and open leverages, right? But yeah, Trunk is going to become really interesting in price volatility. Now, also know that the whale games are going to occur. People are going to be trading the hell out of Trunk token. So if you do not have the stomach for chart volatility, then just, you know, migrate and just walk away from the Trunk ecosystem. Don't even look at it. Just let Trumpet do what it's going to do. Let Bertha, all right? And then you'll be surprised at what the Trunk price can ultimately become, you know, in future years. I don't think it's going to be fast, in my opinion, but we don't know where it's going to go. Any other questions? How long has the stream been? Yeah, I want to keep this to under an hour if possible. So if there's anything you guys want to bring up, now would be the time. Let me see what else. Is there some Bertha metrics we can look at? See what we've been doing on Crypto Stew's pie chart here, but I think that Bertha is going to keep climbing. The LPs are going to grow again. Yep, and they grew again, and the participants are down. Oh, actually, this is out of date. This is out of date. I think Jed's thing is more on track right now because this shows, I don't know how many total the herd is holding right now. Oh, okay, right here. So Bertha holds 194 trillion. The herd holds 191.85 trillion tokens, right? And so that spread can happen more if people decide to panic sell. That's okay. For those of us that are in the long run of Elephant Token, we know the deal. So nothing changes there. Tress says, when unlock? I don't know. It's projected to be sometime tonight. PST time right now for me is 5 o'clock. EST time for BT is 8 p.m. I don't know if this is going to happen in the middle of the night. I just don't know. And I apologize for the folks. I got to stay up late and do that deal. So, try the holders tab, please. Ollie. Holders tab of Jeb's thing. Oh, the holders supply. Well, I mean, I found it on the Ultimate Race, but maybe this has it too. You know, another thing that I'm going to speculate too, before I get off here too, is that Stampede ultimately, remember that the emissions, I'm going to come back to this, but, oh, yeah, right here. No, perfect. Ollie, thank you so much. When it comes to the trunk emissions that are happening out of the farms and Stampede, right? Those are coming out of thin air. I call it dashboard money, all right? And ultimately, Bertha has to pay those liabilities. You have to remember this too. When it comes to comparing emissions of trunk to futures, for example, remember that futures has the perfect feedback loop. And what do I mean by that? If you have a futures account and in a few years' time, you've maxed out your balance at $1 million, dollars, and then you ultimately profit out at the end of the day, let's just say you completely max out and you pull out $1 million ultimately from your futures. Well, all of that money and what you're taking out along the way, you know, if you're making plays elsewhere in crypto, you're flipping that money and bringing the profits back home to the bank, which is elephant money, which will be, maybe your next futures account. So of the $1 million that you profited, and you start a second futures account with, let's say, $200,000, remember the feedback loop of Bertha, the flywheel. That 200,000 that you put in, 90% of it will go to Bertha. Remember that. And Bertha, as you've seen in my AMAs, has a multiplicative effect on that 90% of the 200,000 that came in. That flywheel does not exist in Trunk. So remember that, okay? Ultimately, if you pull out 1 million Trunk tokens, if the system wasn't changed, when you put that Trunk back into a second Stampede account, that doesn't feed Bertha. It doesn't do anything. It just goes into the Trunk Treasury, and then you just have another dashboard figure. So when you think of the inflation in terms of that going forward, that's ultimately the problem that killed a lot of these ROI dApps that cloned bankroll flow, right? People were taking dashboard money and creating new accounts of dashboard money and then hyper compounding their face off. That ultimately, in my opinion, is what was going to happen to Stampede and be a burden on Bertha. Because the dashboard money going into a new dashboard account of Stampede doesn't feed the flywheel. Remember that, guys. Remember that. Whereas futures, you feed the flywheel with any profits that you take out. When it goes back in, it has the multiplicative effect again via Bertha. You have to remember that. That is the key of why futures is incredible. So anyway, from rags to riches, how will the piece be called since it is going on to sexes? Oh, how will the price be calculated since it's going on to sexes? That's a good question for BT. I do not know. I do not know. Sorry, from rugs to riches, my dude. Marius, my point with the price spike of Trumpet is that if it is not going to fly up quick, there is no need to panic to get into the moment things go live, relax. Right. And Marius, that's a good point. Like I said in the beginning, I would be surprised if 1,000 people migrated their Stampede to Trumpet in the first 24 hours. Okay. I think the people that are paying attention, they will get in. And then as the other ones kind of flow in, you'll see that Trumpet price going up, especially if anybody is taking out of Trumpet and then being taxed on the way out. So, and probably should have gone into like more of the Trumpet stuff, but we're running out of time. But there is a tutorial out there for Trumpet that I made. It goes through all of the math. Like, check out the end of it. There's a spreadsheet. I don't think I made shareable. Maybe I'll do that. But the math is there. Bertha's relentless minting of Trumpet and burning of Trumpet. That's the key. Burning of Trumpet is crazy key. So yeah. There's that. Way cool. Was able to deposit 200 and get my available deposited too. Yay. That's good. Don Mac. That's what's up. So culmination of a flywheel masterpiece. Yes, Deadpool, that is exactly correct. So, I think ultimately you can run some numbers and, this will be bullish. So even though the APR is going to go down, I think in Trumpet, because you have way more backing supply in there, the math just shows that as that backing supply gets bigger and bigger, all the volume going in and out is a drop in the bucket. It's the relentless burning that is the game changer for Trumpet. So, for example, if you had put in 10,000 Trunk tokens onto Trumpet, let me find the Trumpet tab here. I always lose it. But if you put in 10,000 tokens of Trunk into Trumpet, and you wait for, your entry price right now is 2.2. If you wait for this to 10x to 22, that means you will pull out 10x the amount of Trunk tokens you ever ultimately put in. So 10,000 Trunk tokens you put in, ultimately you can pull out 10x that amount at 100,000 Trunk tokens, which would have been valued at $1 per Trunk token, right? So that's $100,000. Okay. But now with this change, I think that Trumpet price ultimately, like, let's say in the 1 year time frame, if I expected this to go up 10x in price, I don't think it's going to go up 10x in price with the new changes. in the same time frame of 1 year. And what do I mean by that? Because I think that there's, Bertha's still going to be minting Trumpet and burning it, right? But it's not going to be at the same rate as what it's been existing so far, because more of it's going to be allocated to the buy and burn of trunk tokens. So same scenario. If in 1 year on the old model, trunk being a peg dollar, you thought that this would 10x, let's just say in the same 1 year with new changes, instead of 10x higher at 22, this only goes 5x higher, okay, to 12 or whatever. That is okay if Trumpet price ultimately doesn't go up way too high, because your trunk token that you pull out, even though you're pulling out 5x more trunk token, it doesn't necessarily need to be at $1, does it? Remember that. You might be pulling out a trunk token that is a $5 valuation, or let's just say $2 valuation, right? So you'll be pulling out the same amount at a 5 ratio with a double priced trunk at $2, for example. So you put in 10,000, you pull out 50,000, that's 50,000 trunk tokens valued at $2. That's still $100,000 from the original thing. So you have way more dynamic, variables at play with the long term of Trumpet, but it's still going to be dope, in my opinion. And trunk price is really going to be the kicker and the billboard that brings new eyeballs ultimately to Elephant Money. So don't forget that part. When trunk is trending on Dex tools and all these other crazy sites, that's going to serve as a billboard for bringing people into Elephant Money, elephant.money, right? And then, they'll be learning about the other parts of the Flywheel, the NFTs, which are a steal, by the way. Make sure you're scooping up NFTs at the cheap, prices that BNB is right now until the bull run happens. But that dark cloud that was hanging over, Binance as a whole, that's largely been lifted. Okay. So I think the path is clear. The new CEO is a regulatory guru. He is going to navigate Binance to larger and higher heights. Passive crypto gains just compounded. So TV will be unlocked, and after unlock, I can go into Trumpet or hold or sell trunk. Correct. After you migrate it, you have to go into Trumpet. There is no way to pull out liquid trunk immediately from Stampede. It has to go through Trumpet, and then you have to pull it out of Trumpet to then sell that trunk. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. And Atlas, SK is the truth, folks. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the love. So, folks, I actually think that that's all that I have. If there's anything else, if you're watching this after the live stream and you have questions, please DM me on Telegram or comment down below in the section of this video. Okay. But really, at the end of the day, I think that this is bullish. I was happy to talk to my friend AJ Brockman, and he is nothing but bullish on this. And remember, guys, he understands emissions and protocols, right? He sees the vision that BT has here. So I don't think anyone needs to kind of freak out. I think we just got to hold the line and do what we're going to do, folks. So just keep the faith. This is a marathon, everybody. This is not a sprint. Don't worry about the Elephant Money price. People who want to get out, just let them get out. Bertha's still going to eat, right? That is ultimately the goal of Elephant Money. It centers around Bertha. So nothing has changed there, guys. Just hold the line, hold the peace, tell your friends. Nothing, it's gonna be all right ultimately. This is a bullish change, right? With some short-term pain from the people that are affected with the redemption queue. I get that. I hear you. I empathize. But with this ultimate chess move, I do see the value. I do see the vision. I think that the reasoning is sound. And I think aiming all of Bertha's outflows towards buybacks and burns of the trunk and Trumpet is incredibly bullish. Okay. So anyway, folks, I'm going to end it there. I appreciate all of you being here. If you enjoyed this video, then please smash that like button and hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And until next time, folks, please stay safe out there, stay blessed, and make good choices with your crypto.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. It was fun to hang out with ya. Peace out. A-Town. Bam, 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 bam.